Awesome. Hello, hello. Happy Friday Eve. Welcome to another episode of Assets Over Money Podcast, episode 19. Kev, how you doing today, brother?
Hey, man, can't complain. It's Thursday, Friday Eve.
Greatest day of the week.
Hey,
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
So it's good, man. Watch yourself.
Hey, man, I'm blessed and highly favored. It's been a rainy day, not as good as the weather down there in Charlotte, I'm hearing, but I'm blessed. Like you said earlier, bro, I got up, I can walk, move around. God is good, man. So
yes,
it's good. Melanie, how are you doing?
I am doing really well, thank you. Had a good day. Like you said, the weather here is absolutely beautiful. That always brightens up my mood. Always, so doing good.
Awesome. Okay, it looks like we got a special guest in Melanie. I know that holds a little dear, holds close to you. I know you guys have a special relationship. You want to talk about that real quick, and then I'll intro her.
Hey, well, yeah, this is Melanie Simpson, man. I mean, we met a long time ago and in church, and her family met my family, and we just kind of been connected since then. So, she's good people, and like we were talking about earlier, she's one of my first students to come through our academy. So I'm just thankful for her, man. Glad she can make it tonight.
Thank you. And thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I know we definitely got some questions for you. So before we jump into that, I got a quick bio, right? Reading about you. You got a pretty cool, get some good stuff going on. But just so you guys know, so tonight we have a special guest, Melanie Simpson. Melanie is the owner of Grenefield Investments, a real estate investment company, and LanieRayne Expressions, a web-based greeting card company. She's also a full-time childcare financial aid supervisor in Charlotte, balancing her career with her entrepreneurial journey. Melanie's currently growing her real estate portfolio, focusing on single-family homes, and is planning to expand into duplexes, triplexes, multifamily and commercial properties. So she's passionate about using her experience to educate and inspire the younger generation about finances, investments, and thinking outside of the box when it comes to education. So without further ado, I'm going to bring you up, Melanie. Yeah, so I guess tell us about you. I know I read a little bit there, but I know that's not the full story. Tell us about you.
Well, I have been here in Charlotte right at 35 years, so that kind of tells my age, unfortunately.
35.
But I like that. I moved here as a baby, yes. So this is basically my second home. I have done a little bit of everything, just trying to find what feels good for me. My generation, it's you get a job, you work that job your whole life, you die at that job. And I wanted something different. So throughout probably the last 20 years, I've tried a little bit of everything. I've been a freelance writer. I've written music. I've done musical projects. I've done a little bit of everything. And about 7 years ago, I guess, Kevin and his wife, my husband and I were at lunch with them, and they were kind of explaining to us what they were doing at that time as far as getting into real estate investment. And it seemed really interesting to me at that time. But, life, we had a middle schooler, a high schooler who were both crazy busy. So I did not have the time to even entertain it at that time. But I never forgot about that opportunity that they discussed with us. And, unfortunately, as you get older, you lose your parents. That's what happened with me. I inherited my parents' home, and I attached to it. It's my childhood home. So I didn't want to sell it. So I thought, let's try to rent it out. Reached out to Kevin, and he invited me to participate in his real estate academy, Kingdom House Real Estate Academy. And it was a 6-month program. Awesome program, amazing start. So much knowledge. He shared so much of his knowledge, his resources, his encouragement, mentoring. So that put me in a situation where I am right now, which is, I am new, but just finished up with my second property. And I know if I had not participated in that program, I would not be where I am right now. I would have made a whole lot more missteps than I did, because, that's going to happen. But Kevin teaches so that you learn from the things that he wished he had done differently. So there were a lot of things I did not have to experience on my own by listening to him and following his guidance. So had a great start. Now I'm on my own, but I do still bug him I'll text him or call him, say, Kevin, I've got this issue. What do I do? And he continues to give me that encouragement and that advice, and has talked me off the ledge a million times at this point.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And I guess hearing all that, one of the questions I had kind of generating from that is, I guess, so why real estate then, right? You bounced around different things. I know you inherited a house. What, I guess, about real estate made you want to, dive into renting it, keeping it in the family, and then also trying to start another venture with, buying another house, flipping another property? Why real estate?
Well, basically that cash flow, you
Mhm.
know, you it's as long as you have that property, as long as you have tenants, you're gonna have that cash flow coming in. So it just felt like that passive income, that's a sense of security. And as far as continuing to grow that, also a legacy for my children, because that's something that I want to leave to them, want to show them that there's another way to do things besides the traditional job, traditional education. Not knocking that, we all have that it has its place, but that's not necessarily the only way to go. So that's what that's what Kevin instilled in me. That's what I'm trying to live by and instill in my kids.
Nice. That's awesome. And I think real estate is for sure a great asset. Now, with your kids, are any of them doing anything in real estate or wanting to at this point? Or are they kind of still, living life kind of away from it right now?
That basically is the case. My son is older. I gave him the opportunity to come in and help and learn as well. He wasn't interested in the real estate, but he is helping me with my other business. My daughter is interested in the real estate arena, but she's right at this moment not willing to. Well, not, I won't say not willing to. She's focusing on her career, and then she's going to come in with me later on. My nephew actually is interested, so he's going to be the first one that I pull in to start helping me once I finish get my current home leased, rented out, and then refinanced and start looking for another project. Then I'm going to pull him in and start giving him some of the knowledge that I gained.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I think it's really great to pay it forward, right? So not just, trying to build it yourself, but build it yourself, but also help people along the way, which I think is very possible. And I think in a way too, it's the most real you can be is as you're going through. It's like each one teach one. So as you're going through it, you're able to pull people up with you because it's like, look, I'm on the path. Because you have a lot of gurus out there who not really practicing what they preach. You know what I mean? They did real estate, got a lot of success, made a lot of money, and now they're selling courses. They're not even in real estate, but they're teaching all about it, right? So it may, because we all know markets change like snap of a finger, the drop of a hat. So they may be kind of out of touch. So you kind of going through it, going through your own struggles, going through, your wins as well too, and learning lessons, being able to pay that forward is so important. Would you agree?
Right. Oh, definitely. And I do want to expand beyond my own little circle. I want to expand into that entire generation. The younger millennials and the Gen Z kids want to start working with that crew, period, once I get to a certain point. So that's one of my long term goals.
Yeah. Well, I definitely have some more questions for you. Before I ask, I'm gonna pass it over to Kev. I know you got some questions, bro.
So, Melanie, I talked about earlier that you inherited a house. Take us through that journey that you went through after you got the house. What did you do, and how did you get to the point where you are now, finishing your second, about to be on your third house?
Well, the first thing I did, my home was built in 1968. So the first thing I did was to get a home equity loan to make some updates and some repairs. The house was paid for, so I was able to take from that and get everything renovated. It's a split level. The basement was one large room. That's my dad finished that himself when they first purchased the house when I was a baby. He finished it himself as one big room. There was a half bath in that area. So I thought, well, let's actually, Kevin, it was Shannon and the general contractor you guys were working with at the time. He suggested that I take that big room, split it into pieces, make another bedroom, which would make it a 4-bedroom home. And I wanted to expand the bathroom. It was a half bath with a closet right next to it. So I wanted to close that closet in, turn that into a shower. So we ended up in the basement with a nice sized den, plus the laundry area that was down there, another bedroom, and then a full bath. So we turned a 3 bedroom, 1.5 bath home to a 4 bedroom, 2 full baths. And renovations took about 2 months. In addition to rebuilding that basement, we redid the floors, of course, repainted, did some repairs to, minor repairs, sheetrock and that kind of thing. All the baseboards were replaced, but it looks like a brand new home. It looks wonderful. So by the time all the renovations were finished, then worked with it took me a minute to find the right property management company. That was a journey in itself, but finally did. And they got some great tenants in. Tenants have been, great, paying on time and taking care of the home. Thankfully, I still have family there, and they go by and they check on it just to make sure everything is looking good. Whenever I go home, I do the same, and looking great. So the whole process, once that was finished, I refinanced and then finally found my second property and was able to get that,
So what
purchase
type
that.
you refinance? What type of loan did you get to refinance that? And like, was it possible that you actually pulled money out more than the loan was? Like, talk us through that part too, like how you took you renovated the property so you increased the value. But talk
Mhm,
for those people that were out there listening that may be new, just like you were at the time, and maybe
mhm.
the house. What steps after you renovated, refinance? What type of refinance did you get, and how did you go from that going to your second property?
When I refinanced, they gave me 75% of the after repair value. So
Okay,
that gave me enough to pay off that original home equity loan. And it left me with enough to be able to make a down payment on another property. So that
got it.
worked out perfectly.
Talk a little bit about that, the money. So we're talking like, tax-free money, correct?
Yes, which is great.
That's
Win
it.
win.
That's the game, right. That's the game we play. When you buy and hold, man, it's on another level, man, and it just makes so much sense. I mean, like, we talk about multifamily a lot now too, and it's like, I made an offer on a 24 unit today, and it's like,
Oh, wow.
being able to refinance and get a check back, whether it's 10,000, 20,000, or 100,000. I mean, that's tax free because it's a loan. So for all you new people out there, y'all heard it right there. She inherited a house. She got a loan to do the repairs, so no money came out of her pocket. And
Mhm.
after she renovated it, she went and refinanced it again for the after repair value. So she was able to pay off that loan that she had and put more money in her pocket, which was tax free, that she was able to put down on another house. So that's powerful,
Oh,
right there. You know what I mean?
oh,
I
yeah,
mean, that's just a that's a powerful tool for anyone out there listening right now.
exactly.
But from going from that place to your second one, so you got the check and then
Mhm.
basically took it from there. And how did you find your next house? And like, what were the steps you took after that?
Found the next house through a wholesale company that offers wholesale properties. And since I'm working, I don't have a lot of, I can't just drop everything and go do what I need to do. So they sent this house in Greensboro, and it just spoke to me. It was a cute little house. The price was great, and it's in Greensboro. I live in Charlotte, so there was no way for me to just drop everything and go to look at the house. And I think I talked to Kevin about, is it smart to just go ahead and purchase it without looking at it? And it's not really a good idea. But I was desperate because I really wanted this little house. So I ended up talking to the general contractor who repaired my mother's house, renovated my mom's house. And he was available. He went and looked at the house for me. I had done the numbers that previously. So I knew what I was going to be able to spend on repairs. So I said, look, can you go and look at this house for me and tell me if you can do everything that needs to be done for the amount that I was going to be able to budget. So he met the wholesaler there, and there were, I think, maybe 10 other investors who wanted to bid on this house. So I had a little formula in my head. I said, I'm just gonna take what they're asking for it, and I'm gonna add $1,150 to it. You know, it was just a random number, but I felt good about that. So I sent that, and I was in a meeting at work, and I sent the my bid to the wholesaler. After the general contractor saw the house, he said, "Yes, I can do the repairs for this amount." So I said, "Okay, I'm going to bid." I made my bid, and I had a meeting that I had to focus my attention on. And after the meeting, it was about 2 hours later, and I noticed I had gotten a text from the wholesaler saying, "You got it." So I'm excited. But then I had a time limit. I had to get the um, contract signed. I had to get wired the deposit to them, and I had maybe an hour to do it. So I'm panicking by this time, and I'm technology challenged. So my husband usually has to assist me with everything. And I was on my way home from work trying to get this paperwork signed and then driving, mind you. So I'm pulling over trying to get the contract signed and trying to get the money wired. So and it was taking a minute because I was having technical issues. And the wholesaler was saying, "Okay, now you've got maybe 30 more minutes, and the person who had the next highest bid is going to get the opportunity to bid on this house, to get this house." So then that means I'm going to totally lose it. And Kevin will tell you, when I'm faced with this kind of thing, previously I would have just melted, just been, "Oh, I'm just so distraught. Nothing is working out. I'm distraught. This is horrible." But after he's talked me off the ledge 50 million times, I said, "Okay, I'm not going to panic. Let me just stop." I just pulled over into another parking lot. I said, "I'm going to get this fixed." And I was able to finally get the paperwork done, get the money sent like I needed to, and in time, and everything worked out fine. So it was a roller coaster, but it worked out. So from there, the general contractor who worked on my home and went my childhood home in Winston-Salem, he was going to do the work for the Greensboro home. So then we got together and got the plan going for that. And we finally got to this point. Everything is done. We just now need a tenant.
So when you get that tenant, you're gonna you're gonna refinance that, right? And
Yep,
do the same thing over and over, cookie cutter, right? Full
exactly.
and moving.
Exactly. As soon as I get that lease in my hand, I'm calling your guy.
Refinance, hey, that's the game right there, yo.
Exactly.
It's been a seller's market for so long throughout these years. Now it looks like it's turned into a buyer's market. You got to be ready for that, man, because that buy and hold is where it's at.
Mhm.
Me, I used to build, and I mean, we still do fix and flips, but like, I wish I had held on to some of my properties that we sold. You know what I mean? Because it's just that cash flow. You know what I mean? Cash flow and leverage is the name of the game. So, I'm so proud of you, man. I'm just so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Rick, what you got, bro?
Yeah, no. So I appreciate you sharing all that there, Melanie. So I want to go back, and I'm curious. Like my head's spinning. Can you talk us through the numbers? Like, what does it look like? As far as going back to the first house. You pulled out some money. How much did you pull out? What did you end up spending for the rehab? And then once you refinanced, what is your rent compared to your PIT hour? If you even want to share that, how much are you making in cash flow after everything is said and done for the first one, and then would love to hear about the second one as well too.
For the first one, I'm really not making a lot.
Okay.
It's not a large amount. I'm getting maybe after paying the property management company, I think I have maybe 253 left from the first one. And my second one, I'm not sure what my end game is going to be, but for right now, my mortgage is from what they are trying to rent the second one for. And I know my mortgage right now is not going to be the same when I refinance,
Yeah.
it's going to change. But if I look at it right this second, then it's going to be about two extra, which, adds up. It's not a whole lot, but like
Mm-hmm.
Kevin always told me, a little bit, is going to add up.
Yeah.
If you're like $100 over, then it's still a positive. So,
And you still have the equity too, and so you still
right.
You also still have, the tax advantages you're gonna get from holding those properties. But those are her first two, which is good still, because you know what I'm saying, you still up and you still got the equity.
Mhm.
Still gonna be able to get that cash out and go do another one. So it's just like Monopoly, man. You know what I'm saying? The more the better. But that's why I've always been telling you the multifamily is so much greater, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's the economies of scale, and you know what I'm saying, I can go out here and buy 24 units in 45 days, and
Mhm.
then you couldn't do 24 houses in 45 days.
Exactly.
And so, like,
Exactly.
one light bulb blew in my head, you know what I'm saying, where you started, I wish I had started in '06. If I had
Okay.
that, you know what I'm saying, that buy and hold, that strategy. Because as soon as I got my license in '06, the recession hit, right? And so all this craziness is going on with the housing market, you know what I'm saying, in '07. And like, I had to learn through that. So like, I was learning and just trying to get a check at the same time. So, I just commend you, because you're just gonna keep growing, man.
Thanks.
And
Thank you.
the more times you do that, you can do some multifamily soon, because it's just like Monopoly, right? 4 greenhouses, 1 red hotel. For every,
Exactly.
even if they make it $100, you leverage that to be able to go out here and buy you a multifamily. And
Exactly.
what I'm seeing now, the sweet spot for multifamily right now is like between 5 and 40 units or so. You know what I'm saying? But
Okay.
no, I'm giving out my little jewels right now, but at the end of the day, that's that sweet spot, because now I can go and leverage. I can negotiate with the seller a whole lot easier, because everybody's looking for 50, 100 units and up. And you can eat that 10 units, 20 units. You can kill that, and you can multiply way faster. And
Exactly.
seller, creative financing. You know what I mean? I,
Mhm.
the offer I did today was for 1.5, and
Wow.
asking the seller to pay 25% of, well, not pay it, hold a second for, up to 5 years. So like,
Okay.
and I'm gonna basically negotiate the closing costs. So like, I don't have to bring
Wow.
much to the table at all. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's just a creative way, increase your net worth, increase your cash flow and your leverage, man. Because I mean, that's the only way we can go, man. I mean, from the way the world is right now and what's going on in America,
Mhm.
you have to be able to leverage assets. Because if you don't, then
Right.
you don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Let's just put it that way. And so
Yeah, true.
for what's going on in the world, but just keep doing what you're doing. I think you're gonna be fine.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I guess one of the questions I had too is, as you're going on, right, you're relatively new into the business. What are some of the, I guess, lessons that you have learned going so far, right? Because I feel like a lot of times when people jump into real estate, they think it's just going to be super easy. They think it's just just
Right.
buy a house, and then you can hold it. Like, and I'm in the military. One of the pieces of advice they give, which I personally hate this advice, and I always advise against it for multiple reasons. But we have what's access to, the VA loan. I don't know if you know about the VA
Mhm.
loan, but it allows you to buy a house with no money down.
Okay.
Which people will say, oh, just buy a house at every duty station you go to, and then when you leave, you can rent it out. That
Mm.
makes sense, if you're buying houses at $100,000 with a 3% interest rate, and that way when you leave, you can rent it out. But in most cases, we know what interest rates are now. We know the cost of housing now, what it is. There's a lot of people who are taking that advice, buying houses, and then going underwater, coming out of pocket $400 or $500 a month, for the mortgage. And that's not to mention, when the tenant breaks the AC or the refrigerator, whatever happens that's broken,
Mhm.
or they end up getting foreclosed on. I've seen that happen a couple times. But I'll just say, what are some lessons that you learned? Right, you're relatively new. You're going through it. You're out there in the fire. What are some things that you've learned early on that been like, man, you know what? Maybe this is not as easy, or dang, I thought it was this, but this is the reality.
Mhm. There've been a lot. I think that one of the main things is to trust the numbers for me. I have had to learn to trust the numbers and not just try to force something in a direction that they aren't going to go based on the numbers. Kevin always said, don't get emotionally attached to any property because you don't know how what the end game is going to be. I've had a situation where I fell in love with the little house and I wanted to push the issue even though the numbers weren't working.
Yeah.
The numbers were not working. So I had to talk myself off that ledge and say, okay, look, I know you're emotionally invested in this for whatever reason, but based on these numbers, this is not a good move. So you need to back away and move on to the next thing. That also buying a house sight unseen.
Yeah.
With this particular project, something did come up in the foundation that was missed. And, the general contractor did me a favor by going out to look at the house.
Yeah, of
I
course.
would not have expected him to catch every single thing. So I did blame myself for not going myself to take a look at everything as closely as I should have, because this project was initially going to be a flip. I wanted to kind of speed up my progress so that I could leave my job sooner than it looks like I'm going to be able to. So I said, well, if I flip it and get enough from it, then I can go ahead and come out. So that was my goal. And when we got a deeper dive into the condition of the house, then we noticed that issue with the foundation. So that's another thing. I'll most likely, and I say I will never, but sometimes I'll go back on something that I say I'm never going to do. But I know it's not wise to purchase a house without seeing it for myself. So that's another thing. Number 3, I'm going to say trust red flags. I had a horrible time finding the right property management company.
Oh yeah.
And there were red banners, with neon lights, that bad, not just red flags.
Like what?
Well, this might take the
You
rest
got to
of our
drop no
time, but I'll
names. Don't
tell
drop
you.
no names. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I ain't
yeah,
trying to get
definitely
sued,
won't.
but just
Definitely
you
won't.
can tell us what they did.
Well, the first issue I had, I researched several companies in Winston-Salem, I'm sorry. And this one particular company looked like this may be a good fit. So I contacted the owner of the company. We talked several times, and after talking several times and getting additional information, he went to view the house and gave me, prospective numbers as far as rent goes, and house it's in great condition. I think we can work with this. It's okay. I signed the contract. I paid my initial fee. So it turns out once he finished and got the signed contract, then he passed me on to the person that he was working with. So it was her responsibility to find tenants. So they stated that they had these extensive screening processes, the financial screening processes, the background checks, the criminal background checks, everything, rental history, everything. So I'm trusting this. So got to where they had a tenant, they had an approved application, they had done all the background checks. So Kevin said to me, make sure they give you these results. Make sure you see these results for yourself. Don't just trust their word. So as far as she was saying, they had done all that. And can you pause that, please? And so it turns out she's trying to rush getting these tenants in. She said, okay, we've got the tenants. They want to move in this weekend. Okay. So I'm saying I still had to get the stove. I still had to get blinds put up, and I still had to, oh my gosh, and get it cleaned as well before anybody was able to move in. So, and I still needed this paperwork. I wanted to look at these reports. So the young lady was saying, well, okay, I'll get to the reports. Now all of a sudden they're still running. Just the day before she had all the results, everything was fine. They were ready to move in. Now it's the reports are still running. Okay, and I'm explaining, I still have to get the stove. Oh, they have a stove. Okay, red flag number one. But I still have to get the blinds put up. Oh, they'll do that for you. So you can save money. Okay, red flag number two. You seem to be a little bit too eager to get these people in this house. So then my next thing, well, I still have to get the house cleaned. Oh, they'll do that for you too. Now at this point, I'm going, no, this is just too much. You are way too eager. And I said, well, I talked to Kevin about it. And I said to her, I'm not moving forward until I can see these results, these reports. A few minutes later, it was, oh, the reports finally came back. Something came up. This isn't a good fit. We're going to try to find another tenant. So, you know, it was obvious at that point what she was trying to do. So we were texting because I do better texting with having information in writing. So we had been texting. I said, well, I'm not comfortable with this. I said, you seem like you were rushing to put these people into my home, and they, you know, whatever the problem was with the background check, you were going to put them in there anyway. So I'm not comfortable with this. I need to end this contract and I need my money returned. So what do I need to do? So a few minutes later, the owner, the gentleman I had been initially working with, called. And, you know, if you're going to call somebody and you're going to have them on speaker and somebody else is there to engage with this conversation, you're gonna let the person know, hey, I've got you on speaker, so-and-so is here with me. We want to talk about this. No, we just started talking and I could hear her in the background trying to counter what I was saying. You know, I said to him, I'm not comfortable. She's trying to rush putting people in my home and they are not qualified to, you know, it wasn't a good, the results weren't good. And so, and she's in the background going, no, that's not what it was. I was, you know, and I'm going, no, we're not going to go back and forth. It was a miscommunication. I understood it one way, you intended it another. That's fine. But I need to get out of this contract. So thankfully, he was willing to return my money and just totally disregard the contract. And I moved on and continued with the process of trying to find somebody else. The next person I talked to, there was an issue with that. It was just a mess. So I finally did settle on a company that manages properties in the Winston area, Greensboro area, and Charlotte area. So no matter where I purchase, I can use the same company. I've got one rep. She's awesome. They're on it. They're very attentive and responsive. So now, thankfully, everything is fine. But it took a minute to get to this point.
Dope. Nah, that's definitely a story for the books and a story to remember. You know, property managers, they're not all the same, you know, as any industry.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's hard. May have to go through a few, and again, that's part of the things a part of real estate that a lot of people don't necessarily mention. They just say, oh, you know, look up a property management company, call them, and then you're good to go. It's not not that simple. There are some, you know, red flags to look for, and a lot of those flags. One of the things my brother, his name is Chris, not my actual brother, but my bro, he said, Chris, he always says, he says patterns, you know, they're patterns, right? You got to watch out for patterns, right? They're repeated. Mm-hmm. So you got to always watch out for patterns. They don't lie. Patterns don't lie. So if you see one red flag, it's like, okay. If you see another red flag, it's like, might as well go ahead and end it here because it probably doesn't stop. And it's good on you for being able to point that out and ask. And now you learned that lesson. It may have cost you a little bit of money. You got your money back, but definitely cost you time. But you were able to pivot and move over to a better company that actually made you happy. It fit the bill for you.
Exactly. Definitely. So that was a blessing.
So it's all good to verify.
Yeah.
Verify, man. Listen, you know what I mean? If I say it, hey, go verify from yourself and make sure that it's true, man, because folks out here need to tell you anything and leave up there dry, yo. So you know, take it upon yourself to do your due diligence, man.
Exactly. And they had I did as you suggested and got references, 4 references, and they all said they were great. So there's no telling who those people really were.
Right. It happens, you know. But you always got to know this is your business. You know what I mean? And this portfolio efficient, and it's because I'm you're like me. I don't want them calling me at 3 a.m. for leaky toilet. You know what I'm saying? So
not at all.
Team on board, You know what I mean? That's ready to go. I mean, I'm going property today. Management is like a mom and pop shop. They don't even charge for late fees and pet fees. You know what I'm saying? This extra income to be coming in. I mean, they're like averaging 585 when they should be like 900. So it's like, bad management. So we take over that and increase the value. So you got to make it your own business, man, and make sure you know what you're getting into, who you're dealing with, because it your waste. Always on top. So I'm you're where you are. I know you're leaving your job. What that place, get you to that point? Where can we help you scale your
business? That is a good point. Good question, rather. That's really hard to answer because I think with me right now, it's time. I know I've got the resources, I've got the connections. It's just the time to be able to focus all day long, like I was when when I'm on vacation or whatever, and this is all that I do. That's my issue right now. But also once I do refinance this, then at least I can move forward towards my next project, even though it's probably going to be a single family home again for now. But the multifamily are definitely in my future, and not too long. I just want to get a few more under my belt, and then I'll feel more comfortable venturing out into that. So I think I have the resources that I need. It's just being able to have that big block of time where I'm free to do just that.
Yeah. Nah,
exactly.
I feel that you just got to find that way. That time is a beast, I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, just keep focusing, keep pushing forward. So for the folks that's out there now, what advice would you give to them, moving forward, for someone that's, working a job 40 hours a week and wants to get into the real estate business? What type of advice would you give them?
First, educate yourself. And you don't have to spend tons of money on that education. There's plenty of information online, programs online that can actually give you some really useful, helpful information. So to me, that's number one. If you do have a mentor or someone who has a program like Kingdom House Realty, then that's a plus because you're going to have more of a structured program. Plus the connections and the resources are invaluable. Pretty much everyone that I've worked with, I've met through Kevin, who I claim to be my mentor. He was my instructor, but my mentor now as well. But that's where the majority of my resources came from. And that's the most important piece for me, the education, however you get that.
Yeah. No, I hear that, man. That's good stuff right here. You see, I'm moving. My battery is going dead.
we got to get you a laptop, bro.
Man, dog, I don't know what it is with these cameras and these laptops, bro. I don't right now. I feel like I'm falling.
Yeah, man. But yeah, Melanie. I mean, I think you pretty much answered a lot of my questions. And as far as I think Kevin asked the exact question that I was about to ask you, so you pretty much I guess answer all the questions that I have. Kev, did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
I mean, I'm glad that were able to come on, and
Thank you.
I want you to just keep pushing forward and just keep pushing the envelope. Don't ever think you can't do it.
All right.
I mean, I don't have anything. I know this is pretty short episode, but I'm thankful for you, and
Thanks.
I see you being successful at what you're doing.
Thank you much. I appreciate that, definitely. And thank you for your guidance, your mentorship, your encouragement, and for talking me off all the ledges you talked me off of.
Yeah, you know I got you. No, I got you. So yeah, this is episode 19, man. What you think about that, Rich? We almost hit our 20th episode.
Yeah, man, almost on the 20th, and then shoot, we getting close to. We ain't quite there yet, man. I'm trying to do the math on 19 episodes times 2. That is 38 weeks. So we're getting close to a year, man.
Wow.
You know,
That's
close
fantastic.
to a year. Getting close to a year,
man.
bro, for sure.
Keep it coming, man. Yeah, that's all we got for tonight, I guess. So till the next time.
Awesome. Thank you again, Melanie. It has been awesome. This was episode 19 of After Money Podcast. Peace.
All right, thanks. It was nice meeting you.
All right, y'all. Good one.